Yesterday was a wild day for Fire Emblem. We got Byleth in Smash, a new Three Houses DLC announcement, and we also got our newest update for Heroes. Today we got the stats for our new Tokyo Mirage Sessions Banner units, so we'll talk more about them in depth. So if you haven't been keeping up with the news, this banner features characters from Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. It was a crossover game between the Fire Emblem and Shin Megami Tensei series. Basically in that game, the main characters ally with Mirages, and those Mirages just happen to be based off of Fire Emblem characters. In Fae, they are all single units, no dual heroes here, and these are all new heroes, so they will get added to the permanent summoning pool. Again, this banner does not have limited time seasonal units. With that out of the way, our units are Eleonora and Varian, Kiria and Darja, Mamori and Drog, and we have Tsubasa with Cheetah. We'll look at everyone's stats, skills, and talk about their general playstyle. Some of these new skills do require a different strategy to be most effective. Let's get started. First up, we have Eleonora, or just Ellie for short. She's a colorless infantry archer with Varian as her Mirage. Ellie has 42 HP, 37 attack, 38 speed, 25 defense, and 24 resistance. 37 attack and 38 speed is amazing. You can't really ask for much better offensive stats. That is up there with Legendary Alm and Egran. I also like her defensive stats, which aren't lopsided like some offensive characters. With 42 HP and 25 defense and 24 res, Ellie won't be super tanky, but she can definitely take a hit, and she won't be super weak to one damage type. As a unit, Ellie will be focusing on attack and speed, so she's in a great starting place. For old skills, she comes with Rally Attack and Speed Plus. That's going to give allies plus 6 attack and speed for the turn, which is incredibly handy, and it's a great support skill. She also comes with Attack and Speed Push 4. As long as she has more than 25% HP, Ellie's going to get a spicy plus 7 attack and speed during combat. However, afterwards, if she makes an attack, she's going to take 5 recoil damage. The tier 4 push skills are definitely much better options, though they can run into issues if the user takes a hit from an enemy. They won't be as much of an issue for Ellie. She comes with the Mirage Longbow, and as noted by official channels, the description from the video and the one that's going to be in game is actually incorrect. This is a 14-weight bow that grants a flat plus 3 speed, so Ellie will sit at a nice 41 speed total. That is important because if Ellie's speed is greater than the foe's speed, the enemy cannot counterattack. This is the correct effect, and boy does it make Mirage Longbow a lot scarier. So at first it may seem like a Fire Sweep bow with extra steps, but unlike Fire Sweep weapons, Mirage Longbow can still counterattack on the enemy phase. With its speed condition, it's more similar to the Wind and Water Sweep skills, however it doesn't come with the self-follow prevention penalty. That means on the player phase, if Ellie outspeeds her opponent, they cannot hit back, and she can still get a double. That should be no problem with 41 base speed plus 7 extra speed from attack and speed push. On the enemy phase, Ellie will still get to counterattack, so she's not just a player phase unit like with regular Fire Sweep users. Only downside is if Ellie does not outspeed her opponent, they can still counter back. As we've seen recently, speed is becoming wildly out of control, so even if Ellie hits 48 speed on initiations, that may not always be enough. Mirage Longbow is really neat, but a Fire Sweep weapon will for sure guarantee the user does not get hit back. Next we have Speed and Defense Brews 3. This is another Brews variant. If a rally assist skill is used by unit or targets the unit, inflict a -5 speed and defense penalty and the guard effect on foes in cardinal directions of unit and target through next action. These are very annoying skills since it's a long range debuff to 2 stats and guard prevents any special charging. Ellie can of course activate this skill with her Rally Attack and Speed Plus, and it does benefit her a lot. Ideally, if you can get another teammate to rally Ellie, then she can take advantage of the debuffs when attacking. Ruse B skills can be paired with the Feint Sacred Seals. They are similar, but Feint skills are not as powerful. For the most part, Ellie's main focus will be to outspeed her opponent. This will make her a great player phase archer that won't get counterattacked, and in this day and age, I personally think Fire Sweep type weapons solve a lot of issues. You don't have to deal with these stupid strong enemy phase builds, and if you can reposition afterwards, you can just keep chipping away at tougher targets. Ellie is going to be in a great spot with her base attack and speed, along with attack and speed push 4, that's going to put her at 48 speed, and you can always just add the Whisper Seal to go even higher. While Speed and Defense Ruse is useful, it requires a better setup, so if you just want a pure combative skill that Ellie doesn't need help activating, you can always instead use low speed and defense. It's great on any Fire Sweep build looking for extra damage, plus it makes it easier to win those high speed battles and get Ellie her follow-up attacks. Alternatively, I have some other B skills I wanted to bring up. No follow-up would ensure Ellie gets to hit twice and not be stopped by wary fighter type effects. Vantage could be pretty fun against lots of ranged enemies since Ellie can weaken them on the player phase and then use Vantage on the enemy phase to clean up afterwards. To play around attack and speed push, we got Escape Route, which can allow Ellie to fly around the map, and with Mirage Longbow she can prevent counterattacks, so even on low HP she can still keep fighting. You also got Mystic Boost to heal up the recoil damage, however that is kind of a lot of investment. You could just use Swiss Sparrow instead. However, the push skills are active on both phases, so if you want those extra stats all the time, maybe Mystic Boost is more useful. Last, I do want to mention Special Spiral, and even Flashing Blade 3 or 4, Ellie could run the AoE Special Spiral build with Flashing Blade. She's going to need to charge it up first, but since Mirage Longbow prevents counterattacks, it makes it safer to do so, and can sort of replace Hardy Bearing, which is mainly used to counter advantage for messing up this build. It's actually way better since Ellie can fire off the AoE special and get her 2 basic attacks in without any threat from the enemy. No Vantage, no special retaliation. It's a pretty sweet setup, and she can still fight on the enemy phase. Honestly, I think Ellie is looking pretty strong. She will be a really solid archer. You can do a ton of fun things with Mirage Longbow. She can even lay down debuffs like Attack Smoke, or you can always run Poison Strike or Savage Blow and double up on either of those skills. She's going to be a great addition to the colorless pool. Next we have Kiria and Tharja. She is a red infantry mage and her stats include 38 HP, 41 attack, 20 speed, 29 defense, and 34 resistance. Well, 41 attack is pretty wild and it will make her the new highest attack mage in the game. The trade-off is that Kiria is incredibly slow, so if she can't get the job done in one hit, she may be in trouble. Her defensive stats are pretty interesting. 38 HP isn't that amazing, but with 29 defense and 34 resistance, it's not bad for a mage, and as we'll see, it's going to get a lot better when taking damage. For her old skills, Kiria comes with Iceberg, not bad with a 34 resistance. She also comes with attack and res solo, so she's going to be pretty good against other mages with that extra +6 attack and +6 res. Her weapon is the Mirage Rod, and it's pretty simple. It's a 14 my tome that grants another +3 attack. Doing some simple math, that means Kiria is gonna have 58 attack flat out with Mirage Rod, and that is one very scary mage. Mirage Rod will also inflict -6 attack and res on foes within 2 spaces. Basically, that's the same as Kiria getting an extra +6 attack, defense, and res. This is a simple stat boosting weapon, but looking at Kiria's stats, it's kind of insane. You got a 58 attack mage who just got 6 more damage. It should be noted that Mirage Rod affects any foes within 2 spaces, so Kiria can affect an ally's fight if their enemy is within her 2 space range. This is just like Tharja's Hex. This might not always be a huge factor, but in some cases, just know Kiria can help out if you position her correctly. Her new B skill is one that many have been waiting for. Low attack and res finally appears. It is our first low res skill. This variant will inflict -3 attack and -3 res on the foe during combat, and also neutralize their attack and res field buffs. This is so good for Kiria because it stacks on top of Mirage Rod. That means Kiria inflicts -9 attack and res on anyone she fights, plus she gets rid of all their attack and res buffs. This is so good for Kiria who really wants that one shot to end the fight. It's like adding another +9 damage to her already high 58 attack. You can even stack on an attack buff plus combo it with a normal res debuff on the enemy. Low attack and res will be very popular. It actually works well with Henry's new refine, and it is somewhat similar to Kiria, minus the, well, having an actual attack stat. This skill will also be incredibly good on Reinhardt. Reminder, Cavalry can use low skills. Reinhardt with Dire Thunder is going to get an easy +6 extra damage since he's going to hit that -3 res twice, and if the enemy is hiding behind res field buffs, all of those go away, so you have to use in-combat buffs instead. While he is great with Lance or Sword Breaker, low attack and res would just increase his 2-shot kill range on any unit, and if you really like Reinhardt, this is the new skill to get. Besides Ryan and Henry, having low res will benefit anyone like Kiria who only care about high single hit damage, for example high attack mages who aren't running Desperation. For playstyles, Kiria can be extremely simple to use. She has 58 attack with Mirage Rod equipped, and with its -6 res debuff combined with the -3 res from low attack and res, that's an extra 9 damage. She also has attack and res solo, so add +6 attack and you got essentially 15 extra damage on top of 58 attack. Big damage indeed. What's even better is that all of this can be always active on both phases, so if you come at Kiria with a low res unit, they could just get evaporated on the counterattack. Kiria is definitely going to be like Legendary Julia or Lilina as a high single hit damage mage. While getting follow-ups is nice, if you can just KO an enemy in one hit, then who cares about speed. As a tease, we are getting Chill Res as our new Sacred Seal, and this is perfect for Kiria. Chill Res applies a -7 field debuff on the highest res enemy, and that stacks with the -9 res in combat debuffs from Mirage Rod and low attack and res. This is super disgusting, and the highest res enemy is not looking as tanky. If you see this combo, you cannot just assume your res tank is going to shrug off Kiria's attacks. Now you should also remember that Mirage Rod and low attack and res is simultaneously applying a -9 attack debuff. You should not ignore that, and it makes Kiria way tankier than she first appears. She can easily run quick repose as a seal to have a better enemy phase, but just be aware that she isn't as protected as some other units. For example, if you want to run a close counter, unlike Henry, Kiria isn't going to have guard to stop special charging. Also, unlike dual Alphonse, she cannot stop a follow-up attack, so she's going to eat 2 attacks unless she KOs on the first counterattack. I think keeping low attack and res is incredibly fun, but it doesn't make her the greatest tank ever just on its own. If you want a safer player phase, in the case Kiria doesn't one-shot someone, she can then use Sturdy or Mirror Impact that can help her take only 1 hit back, and you can pair it with Attack Smoke since that -7 attack will stack with the Mirage Rod and low attack and res attack debuffs. Overall, Kiria brings a ton of damage to the table thanks to some sneaky in-combat debuffs. Mirage Rod and low attack and res is such a fun combo, and with attack and res solo, Kiria can easily wall off some other mages. She may not be the greatest tank or close counter mage ever, but you do have to be very careful. That hidden -9 attack debuff can be incredibly annoying, and it may keep Kiria alive long enough for her to take out her enemies. Definitely bring along Cho res in some capacity on your teammates, and even the tankiest enemies are going to have some trouble not taking damage. Our third unit is Mamori. She is an axe armor unit and her Mirage is Drog. Mamori may be little, but good lord she is tanky. She has 43 HP, 37 attack, 24 speed, 42 defense, and 33 resistance. 42 defense ties Picnic Lucas for highest base defense in the whole game, and with 33 res, she can even take magic damage pretty decently. Her 37 attack is pretty good, not super insane for an armor unit. Her HP is a little low though, so you need to be careful of that. Mamori is going to be a great choice for those who like a more standard, just stand there and tank everything kind of armor unit. Her old skills include Bonfire, which is fitting with such high defense, and her B skill is Vengeful Fighter. This will allow Mamori to proc Bonfire in 1 round on her second counterattack when she gets attacked first, and it's a great skill for her unsurprisingly. For her weapon, she comes with the Mirage Axe. It's a 60 might axe that grants +3 res that puts Mamori at 36 resistance, which is just PG. Additionally, if Mamori is within 2 spaces of any ally, she gets another +6 defense and resistance, plus she prevents a follow-up attack. Now this is so dang good. Mirage Axe is basically a way better Thunder Armads, and it's not even close. I really like Legendary Hector partially due to that weapon, and Mirage Axe is just straight up easier to use and grants more bonus stats. Just for being near any ally, Mamori gets tankier and the enemy loses a follow-up attack. She will have 48 defense and 42 res potentially just from this weapon alone. It's insane. This is like the perfect weapon to complement distant counter, and Mamori can pretty much play like Legendary Hector minus Ostea's Pulse. Mamori does come with a new A skill, and this one has the new mechanic. Shield Obsession works if the enemy initiates combat and grants bonus defense and res equal to 9 minus the number of foes who have already acted times 3. This has a minimum value of +3. Basically, it checks to see if any enemy has acted, so I assume if they are grayed out. If the enemy that acts is the first to move, Mamori will get the full +9 defense and res during combat. If they are the second enemy to move, then that becomes +6, and third or higher brings us to the minimum of +3. So Shield Session is kind of like a stance skill. It's enemy phase only, but can grant a huge stat boost depending on how many enemies have moved. Since the AI always attacks first, this will be better in the player's hands, although rally skills would actually mess this up. I wouldn't say Shield Session is a new must-have skill. With the new tier 4 single and dual stance skills being introduced, they have guard built in, which is really strong on any tank. They also work consistently, whereas Shield Session offers varying levels of effectiveness. Obviously it's pretty great on that first attack, and if no other attacks happen, then it doesn't matter. +9 defense and res is pretty substantial, so it does have a place, and from Mamori who already adds +6 defense and res, it's a really good skill to use. I think it has potential, but once Bracing Stance 3 comes out, it will have major competition. So everything Mamori does we have seen before, it's just that she brings so much extra defense and res that through sheer numbers, she can be a menace. With Mirage Axe and Shield Session at full power, she can hit 57 defense and 51 resistance. I would not want to face that. Because Mirage Axe by itself adds so much protection, Mamori can even go for non-stat boosting A skills like Distant Counter or Surveillance Shield. With DC and Vengeful Fighter, you basically got a tankier Legendary Hector with a little less damage. He is a fantastic tank, so Mamori should be just as good. If you go with Surveillance Shield, you can still have a super tanky arm unit that cannot be cheesed by armor effectiveness weapons. Combine that with Special Fighter and the enemies can't charge their specials as fast, plus Mamori gets to Aether and Ignis faster. It's basically a battle of attrition at that point. If you want, Mamori would be hilarious on your typical ward armor stacking teams. She could also make good use of pulse smoke to delay the enemy even more, or she could use the new tier 4 threaten skills. Maybe she could use threaten attack and speed, but I think an attack and defense variant would be better. Those skills are great on army units because if the enemy tries to bait them in first, they get hit by the threaten debuffs while the army unit's gonna get those buffs. It's one reason why Surtur is so annoying. For the most part, Mamori is another tanky axe army unit, but boy does she does her job well. She is pretty much what you would expect from an army unit, nothing super fancy going on, just a big old hunk of stats. Last on the list is Tsubasa. She is a lance flyer and her Mirage is Cheetah. Tsubasa has 39 HP, 32 attack, 40 speed, 26 defense, and 30 resistance. I was joking when I said she would be the fastest flyer in the game because she rides a rocket horse, but it turns out that is actually the case here. With 40 speed, a speed super boon, and a weapon that also grants +3 speed, Tsubasa will be burning through the skies at supersonic speeds. Paired with an OK 32 base attack, she will be looking to double often and be an offensive threat. Her defensive stats are alright, 26 defense isn't that great for a melee unit, but it turns out that Tsubasa isn't that concerned with taking damage. For old skills, she comes with Moonbow, perfectly fine special. Her B skill is chill speed because who needs competition, and her C skill is honed flyers. Very nice if you plan to run an offensive flyer emblem team. Tsubasa's weapon is the Mirage Feather. This is a 16 might lance that is effective against both armor units and cavaliers, plus it grants a flat +3 speed. This will put Tsubasa at 43 speed, which is crazy and that only gets higher. If Tsubasa initiates combat after an ally has acted, she gains +6 attack and speed during combat, and she can make a follow-up attack before the enemy can counterattack back. That is one good lance. It gives so many benefits to Tsubasa. She gains another +6 speed, and the added attack is nice, especially since she has dual effectiveness on armors and cavaliers. Not only that, but if Tsubasa has a follow-up attack, she gets to use it before the enemy's counterattack, just like Desperation. All of this is amazing, but Tsubasa must go second or later. This can be an issue if you want to use her to attack first, and that's not exactly an uncommon scenario. Obviously, Tsubasa will be great with a dancer on the team, but it really depends on the situation if she gets to move second or later all the time. If she does have to attack first, she is going to get hit back, and she isn't gaining those extra stats, so she may not get the kill. Mirage Feather is powerful, but it's not a perfect weapon, and you have to account for situations where Tsubasa must make the first attack. With Blade Session, it becomes even more important that Tsubasa isn't the first to act. Blade Session is a player phase counterpart to Shield Session. If unit initiates combat, grants bonus to attack and speed equal to 3 plus the number of allies who have acted times 3. This has a max value of +9. Just like Shield Session, this skill plays off of the idea of how many units have acted, except now it's your units. If no unit has moved, Blade Session only grants +3 attack and speed. If one ally has acted, it grants +6, and if 2 or more allies have acted, it then grants the full +9. For Tsubasa, that means ideally if she acts second or later, then she should get at least +6 or +9 additional attack and speed on top of Mirage Feather. Now, one thing I forgot to mention in my last video is that we currently don't know how this skill works with dancers. For example, if Tsubasa moves and then she gets danced, does Blade Session count this as 2 units already acting, or is it only going to look at the grayed out units currently on the map? I feel like that should count as 2 units already acting, but we don't know if that's actually how it's coded. If it only looks at the grayed out units, then Blade Session actually loses a little bit of value with dancers, at least in certain situations. If this is the case, you could always just look to run Swissbro 3 instead for that consistent +6 attack and +7 speed. If you use Tsubasa, she will require a different playstyle to fully utilize Mirage Feather. Ideally, she should always move second or later, otherwise you lose out on a lot of extra attack and speed. For example, moving first means Tsubasa loses 9 attack and speed from Mirage Feather and Blade Session, not fully activating. For Tsubasa specifically, I would say to keep Blade Session, it's fine. Instead of going for Swissbro 3 or Attack and Speed Solo, which are okay options but expensive, if you use Mirage Feather optimally, Blade Session should always give at least +6 attack and speed and potentially that sweet +9. The payoff to going second or later is really high, and Tsubasa can definitely 2-tap a lot of enemies before they even get to fight back. This is especially useful when fighting arm units or tanky cavaliers who don't die in one hit, even with armor effectiveness. For example, green units may survive one hit, but if Tsubasa gets to attack twice in a row, then that is super helpful. Unfortunately, she's going to be stopped by Warrior Fighter type effects like Mamori has, for example, and she can't use no follow-up since she is a flyer. This is kind of a big issue if you need to take down a super tanky green armor or cavalier. For non-green armors and cavs, Tsubasa should have a decent chance at one-shotting them. Mirage Feather gives +6 attack, Blade Session gives +6 or +9 attack, and then you can always add on a Sacred Seal like Swiss Sparrow plus an attack field buff. Again, the emphasis on going second or later is very important. Tsubasa wants that huge attack boost. In ideal conditions, I think she's going to perform very well, but it may not always be easy to have Tsubasa act second or later. For example, in hard PvE content, every move counts, so if Tsubasa needs to act first, you might run into issues. In 8th raid, since there are more units on your team, this condition may not be that hard to fulfill. Same goes for rival domains on the big battle maps. In terms of builds, again, I would say to keep Blade Session. If you don't like its restraints, then you won't like Mirage Feather anyway. Since Tsubasa doesn't need desperation, you can run things like Hit and Run or Wings of Mercy / Aerobatics. Wings of Mercy would be great if you have someone who purposefully drops into low HP. They would attack first, then Tsubasa can fly in for cleanup. Now I think Tsubasa could also run Gale Force plus Heavy Blade, but just know she probably won't activate it in one round because she should be attacking twice in a row. She won't get hit, and that's not going to charge Gale Force in one round of combat. Afterwards though, she could be pretty deadly thanks to having that desperation effect plus all the extra attack and speed. Actually, Gale Force is another thing. I'm not sure of how it interacts with Blade Session or even Mirage Feather. We'll need to see some testing on what counts as a unit having already acted. Besides Gale Force, I would actually switch Moonbow to Luna. Again, if Tsubasa is supposed to kill in 2 hits immediately, Moonbow's not going to proc in one round of combat. Meanwhile, Luna would proc on that second round of combat just like Moonbow would. Overall, I think Tsubasa has a lot of strengths, but she won't be as easy to use if you treat her like any normal offensive unit. She loses a lot of benefits by attacking first, and to avoid that may not always be an option. She is also very player phase focused, so you probably don't want her to tank hits very often. If you can reach her first, she's a lot less threatening. That's it for this breakdown. We have some new mechanics you should be aware of. Even if you aren't summoning for the new units, our Tempest Trials unit is Isuki, and his Mirage is Grom. Isuki does come with a weapon that also deals with units having already acted, so you'll want to understand these mechanics anyway. Let me know your thoughts on these new units. They will be out in a couple more days. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.